Arthur Conan Doyle, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Chapter 4. Sir Henry Baskerville. Our breakfast was finished early, and Holmes waited in his dressing gown for the meeting that was arranged. Our clients arrived on time, because the clock had just struck 10 when Dr. Mortimer came in, followed by the young baronet. The baronet was a small, active man with dark eyes, about 30 years old, strongly built, with thick black eyebrows and a strong, fighting face. He wore a reddish tweed suit and looked like a man who had spent most of his life outdoors. But there was something in his steady eyes and his calm, confident manner that showed he was a gentleman. "This is Sir Henry Baskerville," said Dr. Mortimer. "Yes," said he. "And the strange thing is, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, that if my friend here had not suggested coming to see you this morning, I would have come by myself. I hear that you solve small mysteries, and I have had one this morning which needs more thinking than I can give it." "Please sit down, Sir Henry. Do I understand that you have had some unusual experience since you arrived in London?" "Nothing very important, Mr. Holmes. Perhaps only a joke. It was this letter, if you can call it a letter, which came to me this morning." He put an envelope on the table, and we all leaned over it. It was simple and gray in color. The address, Sir Henry Baskerville, Northumberland Hotel, was printed in rough letters. The postmark was Charing Cross, and it was posted the evening before. "Who knew that you were going to stay at the Northumberland Hotel?" asked Holmes, looking closely at our visitor. "No one could have known. We only decided after I met Dr. Mortimer." "But Dr. Mortimer was already staying there, I suppose." "No, I was staying with a friend," said the doctor. "There was no sign at all that we planned to go to that hotel." Someone seems to be very interested in what you are doing." From the envelope, he took half a sheet of paper folded in 4. He opened it and laid it flat on the table. In the middle of the page, there was one sentence made by pasting printed words onto it. It said, "As you value your life or your reason, keep away from the moor." Only the word "moor" was written in ink. "Now," said Sir Henry Baskerville, "perhaps you will tell me, Mr. Holmes, what on earth this means, and who is taking so much interest in my affairs? What do you think about it, Dr. Mortimer? You must admit that there is nothing supernatural about this, at least?" "No, sir, but it could easily come from someone who believes that the matter is supernatural." "What matter?" asked Sir Henry quickly. "It seems to me that all you gentlemen know much more than I do about my own business." "You will know everything before you leave this room, Sir Henry. I promise you that," said Sherlock Holmes. "For now, with your permission, we will look only at this very interesting document, which must have been made and posted yesterday evening. Do you have yesterday's Times, Watson?" "It is here, in the corner." "May I have it? The inside page, please, with the leading articles." He looked over it quickly, moving his eyes up and down the columns. "This is an excellent article about free trade. Allow me to read you a part of it. You may be persuaded to think that your own trade or your own industry will benefit from a protective tariff. But it is clear that such a law must in the end keep wealth away from the country, reduce the value of our imports, and lower the general conditions of life in this island." "What do you think of that, Watson?" cried Holmes happily, rubbing his hands together with pleasure. "Don't you think that is a very fine opinion?" Dr. Mortimer looked at Holmes with professional interest, and Sir Henry Baskerville turned his confused, dark eyes toward me. "I do not know much about tariffs and things like that," said he, "but it seems to me that we are moving away from the subject of that note." "On the contrary, I think we are very close to the subject, Sir Henry. Watson knows more about my methods than you do, but I am afraid that even he has not fully understood the importance of this sentence." "No, I admit that I do not see any connection." And yet, my dear Watson, the connection is very close, because one comes directly from the other. You, your, life, reason, value, keep away, from the. Do you see now where these words have been taken from? By thunder, you are right! Well, that is clever, cried Sir Henry. If there was any doubt left, it is removed by the fact that keep away and from the are cut out together in one piece. Well, yes, so they are. Really, Mr. Holmes, this is more than I could ever imagine, said Dr. Mortimer, looking at my friend with surprise. I could understand someone saying that the words came from a newspaper, but that you can say which newspaper, and even that it came from the leading article, is truly one of the most amazing things I have ever seen. How did you do it? I suppose, Doctor, that you can tell the skull of a Negro from that of an Eskimo? Of course. But how? Because that is my special interest. The differences are clear. The supraorbital crest, the facial angle, the maxillary curve, But this is my special interest, and the differences are just as clear to me. I can see as much difference between the heavy, formal style of a Times article and the poor print of a cheap evening paper as you can between your Negro and your Esquimalt. The study of printing types is one of the most basic skills for a crime expert, although I admit that once, when I was very young, I confused the Leeds Mercury with the Western Morning News. But a Times leading article is completely special, and these words could not have come from anywhere else. Since it was done yesterday, it was very likely that we would find the words in yesterday's paper. So, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Holmes, said Sir Henry Baskerville, someone cut out this message with a pair of scissors. Nail scissors, said Holmes. You can see that they were very short, because the person had to cut twice over keep away. That is true. So someone cut out the message with short scissors, stuck it with paste. Gum, said Holmes. With gum onto the paper. But I want to know why the word Moor was written by hand. Because he could not find it in print. The other words are simple and could be found in any newspaper, but Moor is less common. Yes, of course, that explains it. Have you discovered anything else in this message, Mr. Holmes? There are one or two signs, although great care has been taken to remove all clues. The address, as you see, is printed in rough letters. But the Times is a newspaper usually read only by well-educated people. So we may suppose that the letter was written by an educated man who wanted to appear uneducated, and his attempt to hide his handwriting suggests that you might know it, or come to know it. Also, you will notice that the words are not pasted in a straight line. Some are much higher than others. Life, for example, is not in its correct place. This could show carelessness, or it could show that the person was nervous and in a hurry. I prefer the second idea, because the matter was clearly important, and it is unlikely that someone who wrote such a letter would be careless. If he was in a hurry, it raises the interesting question why he was in a hurry, since any letter posted before early morning would reach Sir Henry before he left his hotel. Did the writer fear being interrupted? And by whom? We are now moving more into guessing, said Dr. Mortimer. I would say rather that we are weighing possibilities and choosing the most likely one. It is the scientific use of imagination, but we always have some real facts to begin with. Now, you may call it a guess, but I am almost certain that this address was written in a hotel. How can you possibly say that? If you look at it carefully, you will see that both the pen and the ink caused trouble for the writer. The pen splashed ink twice in one word, and ran dry 3 times in this short address, which shows that there was very little ink in the bottle. A private pen and ink bottle are rarely kept in such a poor state. and both problems together would be unusual. But you know hotel pens and hotel ink, where it is rare to find anything better. Yes, I have little doubt that if we could search the wastepaper baskets of the hotels near Charing Cross until we found the torn Times article, we could quickly find the person who sent this strange message. Hello, what is this? He was carefully studying the sheet of paper on which the words were pasted, holding it only an inch or two from his eyes. Well? Nothing, said he, throwing it down. It is a blank half sheet of paper, without even a watermark on it. I think we have learned all we can from this strange letter. And now, Sir Henry, has anything else interesting happened to you since you arrived in London? No, Mr. Holmes, I do not think so. Have you noticed anyone following or watching you? I feel as if I have walked into the middle of a cheap adventure story, said our visitor. Why on earth would anyone follow or watch me? We will come to that. Do you have anything else to tell us before we discuss this matter? Well, that depends on what you think is worth telling. I think anything unusual in your daily life is worth telling. Sir Henry smiled. I do not know much about British life yet, because I have spent most of my time in the United States and Canada. But I hope that losing one of your boots is not a normal part of life here. You have lost one of your boots? My dear sir, cried Dr. Mortimer, it is only misplaced. You will find it when you return to the hotel. There is no need to trouble Mr. Holmes with such small matters. Well, he asked me about anything outside the usual routine. Exactly, said Holmes. No matter how foolish it may seem. You have lost one of your boots? Well, I misplaced it. I put both of them outside my door last night, and in the morning there was only one. I could not get any clear answer from the man who cleans them. The worst part is that I bought the pair last night in the Strand, and I have never even worn them. If you have never worn them, why did you put them out to be cleaned? They were brown boots and had not been polished. That is why I put them out. So I understand that when you arrived in London yesterday, you went out at once and bought a pair of boots. Yes, I did quite a lot of shopping. Dr. Mortimer went with me. You see, if I am to be the master down there, I must dress properly, and perhaps I have become a little careless in my habits out west. Among other things, I bought these brown boots. I paid $6 for them, and one was stolen before I even wore them. It seems a very useless thing to steal, said Sherlock Holmes. I agree with Dr. Mortimer that it will probably not be long before the missing boot is found. And now, gentlemen, said the baronet firmly, it seems to me that I have said enough about what little I know. It is time for you to keep your promise and give me a full explanation of what this is all about. Your request is very reasonable, Holmes replied. Dr. Mortimer, I think you should tell your story again, just as you told it to us. Encouraged in this way, our scientific friend took his papers from his pocket and explained the whole case just as he had done the morning before. Sir Henry Baskerville listened very carefully and sometimes cried out in surprise. Well, it seems I have received an inheritance with a vengeance, said he, when the long story was finished. Of course, I have heard about the Hound since I was a small child. It is the favorite family story, though I never took it seriously before. But about my uncle's death, well, it is all mixed up in my head, and I cannot understand it clearly yet. You do not seem to have decided whether it is a matter for the police or for a priest. Exactly. And now there is this letter sent to me at the hotel. I suppose that is part of the same matter. It seems to show that someone knows more than we do about what is happening on the moor, said Dr. Mortimer. And also, said Holmes, that someone does not wish you harm, since they warn you about danger. Or perhaps they want, for their own reasons, to frighten me away. Yes, that is also possible. I am very grateful to you, Dr. Mortimer, for bringing me a problem that has several interesting possibilities. But the practical question we must now decide, Sir Henry, is whether you should go to Baskerville Hall or not. Why should I not go? There seems to be danger. Do you mean danger from this family devil, or danger from human beings? That is what we must discover. Whichever it is, my answer is firm. There is no devil in hell, Mr. Holmes, and there is no man on earth who can stop me from going to the home of my own family. And that is my final answer. His dark eyebrows came together, and his face became dark red as he spoke. It was clear that the strong temper of the Baskervilles still lived in this last member of the family. Meanwhile, he continued, I have hardly had time to think about all that you have told me. It is a serious matter for a man to understand and decide in one meeting. I would like to have a quiet hour alone to make up my mind. Now, Mr. Holmes, it is 11:30, and I am going back to my hotel at once. Why don't you and your friend, Dr. Watson, come and have lunch with us at 2? By then I will be able to tell you more clearly what I think about all this. Is that convenient for you, Watson? Perfectly. Then you may expect us. Shall I call a cab? I would rather walk, because this matter has made me nervous. I will gladly walk with you, said his companion. Then we shall meet again at 2 o'clock. Goodbye, and good morning. We heard our visitors go down the stairs and the front door close loudly. In a moment, Holmes changed from a lazy dreamer into a man ready for action. Your hat and boots, Watson, quickly. There is not a second to lose. He ran into his room wearing his dressing gown and came back a few seconds later dressed in a coat. We hurried down the stairs and into the street. Dr. Mortimer and Baskerville were still about 200 yards in front of us, walking toward Oxford Street. Shall I run ahead and stop them? Not at all, my dear Watson. I am very happy with your company, if you are happy with mine. Our friends are right. It is a fine morning for a walk. He walked faster until we had reduced the distance between us by about half. Then, staying about 100 yards behind, we followed them into Oxford Street and then into Regent Street. Once our friends stopped and looked into a shop window, and Holmes did the same. A moment later, he gave a small cry of satisfaction, and I followed his eyes. I saw a handsome cab with a man inside, which had stopped on the other side of the street and was now moving slowly again. There is our man, Watson. Come. We will at least get a good look at him. At that moment, I saw a thick black beard and sharp eyes looking at us through the side window of the cab. Immediately, the small roof window opened. Something was shouted to the driver, and the cab rushed quickly down Regent Street. Holmes looked around for another cab, but there was none free. Then he ran into the busy traffic to chase it, but the cab already had too much of a lead and soon disappeared from sight. There, said Holmes angrily as he came back, breathing hard and pale with frustration from the busy street. Was there ever such bad luck, and such bad work as well? Watson, Watson, if you are honest, you will write this down too, and put it next to my successes. Who was the man? I have no idea. A spy? Well, from what we have heard, it is clear that someone has been following Baskerville very closely since he arrived in London. How else could anyone know so quickly that he had chosen the Northumberland Hotel? If they followed him on the first day, I believed they would follow him on the second as well. You may have noticed that I walked to the window twice while Dr. Mortimer was reading his story. Yes, I remember. I was looking for people standing around in the street, but I saw no one. We are dealing with a clever man, Watson. This matter goes very deep, and although I have not yet decided whether the force behind it is friendly or harmful, I always feel that there is power and planning behind it. When our friends left, I followed them at once, hoping to discover their unseen follower. He was so careful that he did not follow on foot. Instead, he used a cab, so that he could stay behind them or quickly pass them without being noticed. His method had another advantage. If they took a cab, he was ready to follow. However, it has one clear disadvantage. It places him in the hands of the cab driver. Exactly. What a pity that we did not get the number. My dear Watson, clumsy as I have been, do you really think that I forgot to get the number? No. 2704 is our man. But that does not help us at the moment. I do not see how you could have done more. When I saw the cab, I should have turned at once and walked in the opposite direction. Then, calmly, I could have hired another cab and followed the first at a safe distance. Or even better, driven to the Northumberland Hotel and waited there. When our unknown man followed Baskerville home, we could have used his own method against him and seen where he went. Instead, because of my foolish eagerness, which our opponent used with great speed and skill, we have shown ourselves and lost him. We had been walking slowly down Regent Street during this conversation, and Dr. Mortimer and his companion had long since disappeared ahead of us. "There is no reason to continue following them," said Holmes. "The shadow is gone and will not return. We must see what other possibilities we have and act with decision." "Could you recognize the man's face inside the cab?" "I could only recognize the beard." "And so could I, from which I conclude that it was probably a false beard. A clever man on such a careful mission would only use a beard to hide his face. Come in here, Watson." He turned into a district messenger office, where the manager greeted him warmly. "Ah, Wilson, I see you have not forgotten the small case in which I was lucky enough to help you." "No, sir, I have not. You saved my good name and perhaps my life." "My dear fellow, you exaggerate. I seem to remember, Wilson, that among your boys there was a lad named Cartwright who showed some skill during that investigation." "Yes, sir. He is still working with us." "Could you call him?" "Thank you. And I would like change for this £5 note." A boy of 14, with a bright and intelligent face, came when the manager called him. He now stood looking with great respect at the famous detective. "Let me see the hotel directory," said Holmes. "Thank you. Now, Cartwright, here are the names of 23 hotels, all very close to Charing Cross. Do you see?" "Yes, sir." "You will visit each of them." "Yes, sir." "In each place, you will first give the outside porter 1 shilling. Here are 23 shillings. "Yes, sir." "You will tell him that you wish to see yesterday's waste paper. You will say that an important telegram has been lost and that you are looking for it. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir." "But what you are really looking for is the middle page of the Times with some holes cut out of it with scissors. Here is a copy of the Times. It is this page. You could easily recognize it, could you not?" "Yes, sir." In each hotel, the outside porter will call the hall porter, and you will also give him 1 shilling. Here are 23 shillings. In about 20 of the 23 hotels, you will learn that yesterday's waste paper has been burned or thrown away. In the other 3, you will be shown a pile of paper, and you will search for this page of the Times in it. It is very unlikely that you will find it. Here are 10 extra shillings in case you need them. Send me a telegram to Baker Street before evening with your report. And now, Watson, we must send a telegram to learn the name of the cab driver of cab number 2704. And then we will visit one of the picture galleries in Bond Street and pass the time until we are expected at the hotel.